Please welcome James. Hi everyone, how's it going? My name's James Fielding. I'm the founder and CEO of Audira. We make very fancy headphones. We're a group of doctors and engineers and musicians, all by passion or trade, and we've put a hearing test inside a set of headphones. You put them on, you do the hearing test, you see the result, and then we tailor the sound to make it perfect for how you as an individual hear. And after a lot of hard work and R&D, I get to put most of the summary down to this video.
Hit play.
Let's have some fun.
And I'm playing.
Switch?
Holy crap.
It's good.
Clearer. Now get a lot clearer. Yeah. Hear the guitar.
Everything's amplified.
That's awesome.
Bit more custom.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty good. It's a lot clearer.
Far out. I'm like, trying not to swear. That's so good. I don't think I've ever heard the harmonies like this before.
So that's us in a nutshell. And the reason we get to tell this story and the reason that we get sexy young millennials to try on headphones and find a massive difference in what they hear is that despite perception, no one is perfect and everyone hears differently. And everyone's right ear hears differently to their left. And when we're talking about minute little changes, bits and pieces, little nuances, in the world of music, that makes an enormous difference. So we offer an entertainment platform and we offer an educational platform and give people a piece of information that most have never seen before or haven't thought about in years, and they get to engage with an experience about how they hear the world, how they experience the world, how they experience music, how different they are from the people sitting next to them. And when you get to our medical underpinnings, these are the kinds of numbers that we're trying to prevent. Because hearing loss, hearing damage, the need for hearing aid, that's an old person problem. Apart from the fact that 1 in 4 teenagers now have an identified hearing loss. And it's horrible and it's preventable and it's something we can do something about. And so in choosing a carrot versus stick education versus putting sound limiters on things, we said it's not about capping volume, it's not about restricting the entertainment experience, it's about giving a bit of education and giving a platform that can be safer while being better. So one of our little taglines is better, not louder. So you're having as good an experience, as immersive an experience, it's tailored just for you, and you're doing it in a way that means you won't go deaf in 10 years. And that's something that we're very passionate about. And the way we do it is incredibly simple. We focus on one core principle of using headphones, watching TV, watching podcasts. Can you hear what the headphones are trying to give you? And we test that across a number of frequencies, and we figure out how you hear in that specific set of headphones to make the world perfect. And so for the sexy young millennials, they get a massive entertainment boost. And for my buddy Elliot, it's a bit more like this.
It's amazing, and yeah, it's a completely different way of listening to music.
So Elliot has hearing aid in his right, cochlear implant in his left. Headphones for him don't work. They're designed for an audience that fits within a particular band, and if you fit in that sort of band, yeah, they're great. And normal headphones work amazingly well. For guys like Elliot, they're a waste of time. Our platform unlocks that experience for him, which was one of the most validating and emotional experience that we've had in the last 2 years of trying to figure out whether this would work, from sitting down, nutting through spreadsheets, working on algorithms, doing research, going back. what did people say in the 1920s when they invented this technology, and we're using the exact same tools today to understand people's hearing? How can we make it different? How can we enhance it and improve it so that we get guys like Elliot having an incredible experience, and we get these guys having just as good an experience? And so once we figured out that it worked, the question was, can we sell it? And the answer was yes. And we went to a Kickstarter campaign. We put it out to people saying, look, some people have tried this, they really like it. Is anyone else interested? And we set ourselves the goal of raising $100,000 over the 45-day campaign. We raised that on day one, which was pretty amazing, and went on to do just shy of $500,000, which was an incredible accomplishment over about 6 months of hard work leading up to that March 1st launch. And then we went on and said, all right, now that we understand that people like the idea, if we put it in front of people, will it work in a retail setting? And we went down and we stood there in a little stall and we sold another $20,000 worth of headphones. And then I was on ABC Brisbane with Steve Austin, massive shout out to him because he broke the ABC rule and actually told people where they could buy our branded product. Sold another 20 grand worth of headphones, which is just absolutely amazing. And that's where we are now. We just landed the perfect retail partner for us, Attune Hearing, Australia's only accredited audiology group. So controlled environment, I suppose, like Will was talking about, controlled environment, controlled store size, 70 stores, people that get what we're about, understand the product, and we'll be selling through them soon. And so now that that's the spruiking part done, they're how we got here, and I don't have a coordinated set of fuck-ups. I didn't actually put as much work into it as Will did. I thought I'd just come and have a chat, and you can ask me all the questions that you want. But essentially, the one we get asked most often is, after all the hard work of getting into medical school, starting medicine, working as a doctor, why are you guys running around making toys for people now? It's not often that people step away from medicine to do this. And I think it's interesting in our story, talking about my business partner Chris and I, we had the good fortune of being given scholarships to do half an MBA during med school, and the goal was to come out and fix Queensland health. And then they gave 10 of us the scholarship, so we were absolutely going to crack it. But it was interesting that they had the foresight, and they said, look, people usually walk around the corridors, and doctors are very bright, but not traditionally very business savvy. A lot of them not great with people either, but either way, you walk around and people always say, I wish someone would build a whatever. Oh, why do we have to use this? Why can't someone just build a... So we just did, and we did it a lot, and we did it again and again and again. And we have been very fortunate to have a group of high net worth backers that have funded us and then followed through with their family offices to a round day on the field orthopedics, heading in that direction for the headphones. But in terms of how we got here and some of those tough choices, I could never choose between business or medicine, so I just did both. And I put medicine on hold, and I did a business degree and a science degree. And then I met a very fascinating guy in Las Vegas who said, you know, I like the cut of your jib. I was 18 at the time, and being an Australian in Vegas when you're 18, you're sort of a king to them. They still find us fascinating. And then he said, come work for me, learn about another industry. And I said, yep. So I got this internship in Vegas. Then I worked in a hedge fund for a while. Then I worked for a guy called Harvey Weinstein, who's just been dragged through the coals over the last couple of days. It was great. He's an absolute legend. Is he the most terrifying guy I've ever met? God, he's close. But a really passionate guy and just mind-bogglingly smart, but obviously has some stuff going on. And so I came from that into medical school. And so when everyone's sitting around and thinking about textbooks and thinking about, you know, solving this and how many elements of the Krebs cycle and all that sort of stuff, personally, I just never really cared. I was all about fixing people's problems. That's why we got into the game. And I think having that macro approach, which leads to the first fuck up for us of having that problem-solving, trusting, fix people's issues thing. When we started our company, we didn't vest. We just said, if you're playing the game, you get your equity. And we're all in this together. And we came in and we divvied up the shares over the guy whose idea it was, who was Chris, and the other doctor who'd got into the accelerator program. And then there was me coming in with the businessy stuff and the hedge fundy stuff. So I get this slice of the pie, and it all kind of worked out that way until, so there were 4 of us at that stage, until 2 of us left. And so there was only me and Chris left, and they had all of the pie. And then it's worked out that we've figured all the stuff out, and I've become the CEO and turned it from a medical device to a music device, and we did all that sort of great stuff. But vesting would be one of my key tips. We've set that up in some of our later entities where you've got to stick around. So in terms of vesting, you get the promise of equity, you get the promise of shares, you get the promise of the stake if you're willing to stick it through. Because the startup game is tough. And we had 4 doctors sitting around trying to make cool toys for people. One of them's gone off to be a cardiologist, the other one's gone off to do obstetrics. And no grudges, but they followed that path, and we stuck to this path. And so we had to figure out what that then meant, which is ugly, because you don't want to have mates of yours that are trying to solve the same problem, and then all of a sudden you've got to be clawing back equity and playing around with that sort of stuff. The other, I suppose, major fuck up, which is, I've done actually a couple of articles recently about how it wasn't a fuck up and about how I did it on purpose, but it was, we sold a product, we did a demonstration, we did a prototype of some plastic headphones that had our smarts inside, and they were all ready to go, and we finished our Kickstarter campaign, and we've in fact fallen into that classic Kickstarter trap of, we're going to finish the campaign, we're going to take the money, we're going to use it to build the product, we're going to ship you the product, no dramas, we've got a really clear roadmap, trust us, we're on it. And then we did that, and we started building it, and we got ready to go, and it was ready to go, and I said, it's not good enough. Everyone said, no, it's great, look, it does the thing, look at the video. Like that's the prototype, all those happy people. I went, just do not, we're not there. It's not good enough. I've sold them to my grandma, it's got to be perfect. Like this thing has to last. And so we did a whole rebuild. And so we were supposed to ship in July. We still haven't shipped. We're heading, through October into November, and we had to essentially build a new product. And so the lesson we learnt from that, and what I've been saying is owning some of those fuck ups. The way Will was talking about as well. You own it. You talk to as many people as you can, and we've never said sorry because we aren't. And it leads to a very interesting conversation when you put your product and your vision and what you're trying to accomplish out to the world, and you end up with a few thousand people who are now, we're encouraging them to weigh in. And when you get a few thousand people and you say, hey everyone, what do you reckon? It's not always great. And even though they've backed you, especially Australians, we've found over the course of things, and the best example that I can think of is at the tennis. When everyone's sitting around, everyone's going, it's like, come on, Leighton, come on, Leighton, come on, Leighton. Oh, come on, Leighton, come on. People just turn and they go from, you guys are absolutely it. But then if it doesn't happen then people start to go, better be worth it. When's it coming? Get your shit together. You said it would be here. And even though we set about saying, look, we've improved the product, we've improved the functionality, we've made it better build, we've made it better battery, we've done all those sorts of things. When you sell it out to the world and the greater audience, you're going to get all of that feedback, like it or not. And so those are a few of the biggest things we've learnt in trying to play this game, would be when you do set it up, have some structure, have some control, have some idea around worst case scenario, because we went in quite positive and gung-ho about it. But in business, there is always sort of that dark cloud and the what if, and you do have to put a portion of your mind towards that. And the portion of my mind is my business partner, Chris. That's kind of his world. He lives in protecting us from that worst case scenario now, which is an incredibly beneficial thing to have. And being aware that when you run out and you're super gung-ho and you're saying, this is what I want to do, if you ask people what they think, they are going to tell you. So just be aware of that and be willing to accept that not everyone's going to think it's a great idea, not everyone's going to think it's worth doing, worth thinking about, worth talking about. And so those are me, and that's my time. Thanks so much.